How you doing, guys? Welcome back. It's LSP. It's currently the 7th of October 2025. So we are going to be doing another live open trading session. See how we get on today. All the profits, if I make any today, will be donated to myself. And let's crack on. So we've had a nice run outside of the overnight range. This is just extended to show where that range is. Created a new all-time high, and then since staved off a little bit. Volumes are a little bit all over the place pre-market. There's loads of buyers stepping in. We had a massive buy delta, which was just absorbed, and then price continued to go lower. So, there's not really much in terms of assessment pre-market. It's just a question now of allowing the opening range to take place and then deciding what to do after the fact. What makes it challenging is when you're dealing with, I'll just take you up to the daily chart. So when you're dealing with a grind like this, okay, and if you just look at the current daily candle, this is just bullish, and it could just grind and keep grinding with the odd red candle or down day sort of happening out of nowhere. And it makes it very challenging in terms of what to do at these highs. One of the questions that I've had over the years is, how do you trade all-time highs? Well, one of the easiest things to do is to be patient and allow the market to tell you what to do, as opposed to you trying to tell the market what to do. So 20 seconds to market open. Again, there's no stress. We just need to let the market do its thing, let the market open. Currently on the 15-minute chart. Might just drop down to the 5-minute actually, just to see. This is why I don't trust this data to start with. So you can see that apparently this is the entire range here now, this fair value range. And we capitulated a little bit here. So as we ran up, we capitulated, created a new all-time high. So if this does come back, the likelihood of this going back up and creating a new all-time high and then continuing is very low. We may very well revisit this today, but it's highly unlikely that it's going to continue after that, because this is capitulation at the top. Liquidity definitely dried up, and this is why you're seeing this aggressive snapback. So far on the tape, I am seeing sellers in control. May revisit this overnight range down at 24,980-ish. We're so close to the 25k whole number or round number. We're very likely to hit this at some point as well. But there's no range. There's absolutely no range to take a trade. And while we're waiting for the first 5 minutes to filter through, I'll just explain something about this. Top right. So I set up hotkeys, right? When I was trading stocks years ago, and I used to build into large positions on QCOM, obviously it's very difficult to do that with a mouse. So we would set up hotkeys, and it would allow me to basically bid above market, below market, put orders on the tape, etc., or just buy at market if I wanted to, which gives you a great opportunity to just look at the charts, continue looking at the charts, and not have to worry about sort of right clicking or pressing buy, pressing sell, doing all of this sort of stuff. You can just hit the numbers, which means a buy on a 1, a sell on a 3, these are market orders, and then a 2 and a 5 on the number pad. Helps me to increase and decrease the size if I want to. The only thing this doesn't do, it doesn't go below, because I can go all the way down to 1 if I wanted to, 0.001, which is like nothing. So that's the only thing it doesn't do. It doesn't go lower than 1. But the most important thing is, obviously, when you're using hotkeys, is one, to remember that you've got hotkeys, because it's very easy to have an active window open, and you think that you're on a different screen and you're typing in numbers and you're entering the market. So when you're trading, just trade. Just focus on your trading. Don't do anything else, because it's very easy to end up in a bit of a bad spot, and end up with trades open that you don't even know you've got open. To be fair, this is why I've got max volume, order filled. Buy at market, sell at market, exit with profit, exit with gain, max level, so I can hear it. And then obviously I've got my phone next to me as well, which alerts me on the broker app to let me know as well that a trade's been opened. And these are all just little things just to keep yourself on point, make sure that you know exactly what is going on as it's happening. Yeah, there's a quick 15 pips here, or 15 points to take. If I short here, drop down to the 1 minute. Yeah. Buyers stepping in. But at the moment, it's looking like they are being absorbed. And what I'm doing at the moment is I'm assessing the risk, okay? So I'm looking at the 40 here, I'm looking at the 50. Because I'm in super fast scalp mode, right? So if I do end up taking a trade here, I want to be out very quickly and I want to know exactly where my risk is. But the one thing you won't get from me is an open trade for no reason. Yeah, I won't just open a trade because I'm recording and I just want to show something on camera. The purpose for me is to make sure that I am showing realistic trading and talking through the psychology, talking through the contextual ideas of why I'm doing what I'm doing, and giving you an insight into what I'm thinking as I'm thinking it, which I feel is a great educational way, or is a good educational way to get your message across. And I'm hoping to continue doing these for as long as people keep watching them. So again, we've got buyers stepping in, and I'll show you what I'm talking about when I say we've got buyers stepping in. So you can see, I'll just zoom out a little bit here. We had loads of sellers, and this section down here, we've got buyers, right? You can see buyers stepping in, but we had a negative delta up here. There's no real follow through, right? It may happen, but there's no real follow through, on this, on these buys. Right? You can see that we're just kind of getting up there a little bit, but it's not because of the capitulation that happened this morning. Here, let me do this. Because of this capitulation that happened here on this run, it's very easy to, that was a big buy, to be fair, 433 positive delta. It's very easy to just look at some of the information that you're receiving and just say, okay, yeah, there's buyers stepping in, so I'm just going to buy because that's what it says on the footprint, or that's what it says on the order flow, or that's what it says, on the ticker. And you don't want to be doing that. You want to be assessing what's happening, with price, with follow through. Is the momentum there? Are we still within, the opening range and volatility? What time is it? Are they at lunch? Are they not at lunch? Is it market open? Is it the last hour of the session when volume really starts to pick up, but not necessarily, volatility or follow through? And all of these things that you have to assess, because if I'd have taken along here and said, oh, that's really going for it, right? Then I'd be underwater on this position or at break even, right? And only at break even if I predicted that this was going to pop the way that it did, right? So it's always best to familiarize yourself with the way price is moving, to understand the context behind the way price is moving, to understand what that means in terms of opening trades and closing trades, to understand what the follow through is going to be, what ranges you're working within, what size you're going to be using, what risk is in the market, and so on. And you've got to put all of these things together, and you have to do it in real time. You can't do this before the fact. You have to do this in real time. You can set your levels, you can put things on your charts to keep you out of the market until those levels are hit. We'll put areas on the chart that you're interested in to give you an idea of what to look for. But the reality is the market has to open, and you have to do exactly what we're doing here. You have to sit here and you have to watch price with all of these variables playing all at the same time until you're comfortable to open a position. Now, we've had movement to the downside here. We've had movement to the upside. It's basically whipsawing, right? And the bulk of the volume is happening here, right? Where the point of control is this blue line. So we're effectively in the middle of the extremes, right? So one could say, okay, we need a pop above this, but then prices move too much right before that last range to create a new all-time high. And because we've had capitulation, it's unlikely that we're going to continue, right? It's a non-viable trade to take along above this. Below here, it makes more sense because you have the overnight range that we could come back into. We have the capitulation, stave off, right, or pullback, right? It's not really it is a fade, but it's a pullback. It's a pretty aggressive pullback. And if we go back up to the 5-minute chart, you can see this a little bit better. This really nice move, a little bit of capitulation towards the end, final capitulation, liquidity dries up, and then we've had a really nice response away from that, all the way down to almost the point of impulse. That's a pretty decent pullback, right? So again, very easy to use the information that's coming to you, right, to just jump into the market. But like I said, we have a high up here that's been created, we've got a low here that's been created, and we're literally in the middle of the range, and sometimes what I like to do is I like to picture this bit without all of the wicks. So if price does come down and it takes out these lows, it's likely with the correct volume, with what we're seeing on the tape, and with the whole number being down here, that we can revisit the low of this tail, right, or this wick. So again, we analyze, we assess. We're not in any rush. Market's been open for literally 10 minutes, no big deal. And we just keep watching, we keep assessing, and we wait for an opportunity. Point of control here is at 30. We're at 45. That's 15 points. Nothing really. If it does pop here, it's going to get messy up here, in my estimation and through experience. And don't forget, if price is moving too fast, go up a time frame, and if it's still moving too fast, go up another time frame. Don't stress yourself out watching something like this. It's like, oh, looks great, right? Bit of green, bit of red, pop this, pop that. When you're watching price like this is very, very aggressive. This is a 10-second chart. Don't stress yourself out with stuff like this. Just keep popping up the time frames until you find a time frame that you can comfortably watch without having to deal with all of the anxiety of watching price moving so fast and not really knowing what to do. Remember, we're trying to make money, right? We're not here to prove a point. We're not here to try and, change the world. We're trying to make money. We're at war with the market. And as such, we have to use all of the tools at our disposal to take the best possible trades that we can take based on that information. That's a big order. Close to 400 negative on the delta. That's sell over 400 now, almost. Just eased off a bit. A little bit of buyer stepping in. What's interesting is most of the volume happened at the bottom end of this candle, which is good. So we may get some follow through from this. Again, not doing anything at the moment, just watching. and I'm mindful of the range, right? So we're at 25.30 at the minute, 30.35 here. 25,000. That's the range that I'm playing with, right? So the absolute cutoff for me would be around 25 to 20, where I wouldn't really want to be taking a short after this point. So if it gets down to 15, for example, I don't really want to be shorting at 15, because even if it does get through 25 and hits the 90, the likelihood of 25 holding is higher than the likelihood of it going through and hitting 90. So again, these are things that we have to assess. So sellers are still stepping in here. There's a little bit of buying coming. Now at this point, if this is reversed and this candle's low is taken, so now we have a little bit more information, right? So this is what I'm going to be paying attention to. This low here is what I'm paying attention to now. Let's make this a little bit thicker. There we go. That's what I'm paying attention to now. But I would want to see confirmation on the tape before I would take a short. So it's looking okay-ish. So we're almost at 15 minutes of market open, or into the 15 minute into the opening session. And what have we done? Literally nothing. Talking about maybe a 50-point range, which for Nasdaq, as we know, is absolutely bleh. Yeah, it's about a 50-point range. There are definitely more aggressive sellers than there are buyers at the moment, but the imbalance isn't so out of whack as to cause price to jump and try to find liquidity elsewhere. Okay. Remember, this candle's just started, right? Okay.
Sell at market executed.
Here. Not adding to the position just yet. It's 203. My stop isn't up here at 73. It's just because I've got the 50 and 50 up here. Just as I said in yesterday's video, I wanted that. So every time I open a trade, it gives me the levels, and then I can adjust them post open. Now, what I want to see is I want to see this candle reversed relatively quickly, right? So we're about 1 minute into the candle. The quicker it reverses this, I can still see sellers stepping up. Got a negative delta 49, a 126, a 266, and a 177. Buy. Got a little bit of buying coming in now, but again, in terms of ratio between sellers and buyers, I'm still not confident that this is going to keep going up. "17 seconds left of this candle. seller stepping in again. Every time buyers step in, sellers straight away. So now I want a little bit of a pop, 35. Forget 35. I'll take or add to this position.
Sell at market executed.
And we'll get this down, this one to this level as well, around about 02, 03. And the cutoff for this is here. So above this high, around about 55 to 60, I'll be out of this position. Again, sellers stepping in. As soon as we clear this level, we should pop. If it gets through this and below this low, we should pop. You see, that's interesting. So we're seeing buyers stepping in, but the pressure is still quite heavy to the downside. The longer this takes, the less I want to be in this position though. So this really needs to move in the next couple of minutes, otherwise I'm done. Because what's happening here is the longer it stays here, it's working off this capitulation, you know, ready for another pop. It'd be nice if we finish this candle quite, and get rid of this. We finish this candle pretty solid red. All right, now we're getting some big buyers, some big sellers stepping. Just need to clear out these buys. They're really trying to defend this level. But again, we have to trust the tape, right? We've got to trust the orders. We've got to trust what we're seeing. The tape is saying, just to give you an example, we had a 217 negative delta, a 68, a 52 positive, then a 207, then a 14. So it's very, when the buyers are stepping in, trying to defend this level, there's almost no volume, right? But then when sellers step in, let me just move this out of the way. and sellers step in. There we go. They're stepping in with a lot more volume. So now we're at that point. I'm going to give it another minute. And if we don't get the movement that I want, I'm done.
Buy at market executed. Exit with loss.
Yeah. Not happening, not getting the follow through for now. So that was the opening session. Obviously, I'm still going to be here trading away. But I don't want the video to go on for more than sort of half an hour, because otherwise it's exhausting sitting and watching. And it's good to have time limits on your trades. So I'll just quickly explain something, right? I'm sitting here and I've got a trade open short. Context, all looks good. Tape is saying that sellers are stepping in way more than buyers, and we're not getting any follow through. So for me, it's like I have a time limit on this now. And if anything, I'm not going to do this, but if anything, I would consider a long more than a short now, because it's defended this level well enough. We've got enough range to get back up. It's worked off this level enough, but I'm not going to be doing that for now. I'm just assessing. I'll keep going. Context was there, just no follow through. So don't forget to give me a follow. I hope everybody enjoyed the opening session, and I look forward to speaking to you very soon. Ciao for now, guys.